Can you feel it? It's time. It's time for every one of us. If we get knocked down, we won't just get up. It's time we all rise up. Rise up. When stars step up. When a dome stands up. When a city lights up. We all rise up together. Touchdown! When we come on the field, we rise up. Rise up. From kickoff to the last play, we rise up. This is our time, Atlanta. We've been knocking on the door. Now it's time to blow it up. Tell me, what do Falcons do? Rise up. What do Falcons do? Falcons rise up. That's what I'm talking about.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of All In with Nate. First thing first, let me apologize for my absence. It's been crazy holiday week. I've been wanting to talk about the Falcons for a minute. I'm sorry, I have not had a chance to do it. Let me make one thing clear first and foremost. Us losing has not had a reason for me not to talk about the Falcons. You know I've been wanting to talk about them, but we're going to get to it. But y'all see the title. The Atlanta Falcons have created a mess. The last show I did, the Falcons were 6-3. They were 6-3, getting ready to go into New Orleans with an opportunity to possibly put this division away. Since that game, we've lost all three, including coming off a bye looking horrible. That was a bad look on Sunday, and now the Falcons have created a mess. They're 6-6, just like we were last year. You're tied for first place, just like we was last year. You now have an opportunity of blowing a division lead where you have a 4-1 record in the NFC South. It's not much that you can really defend there when it comes to where we are right now. That game on Sunday was pathetic. And I've been high on Kirk Cousins and I've been low on Kirk Cousins. That was the epitome of why people didn't want Kirk Cousins on Sunday. Because that was a pitiful display for 4 quarters. That defense finally came to play for once. We have been going in on defense. They came to play. They gave us our most sacks of the season. They gave us our best defensive effort we could have got. This is a very good Chargers ball club. But the interceptions that Kirk Cousins forced in that game were pathetic. That was pathetic, to be honest with you. And essentially, the offense gave 9 points up to the Chargers. The Chargers did not score a touchdown. Think about that. They did not score a touchdown on offense. Every touchdown, the touchdown that they scored came from a god-awful Kirk Cousins pick six that the corner set on the route. If you weren't at the game, I watched the guy sit on the route, daring him to throw I said Raheem Morris, thinking about the coach, daring him to throw to Darnell Mooney. And he threw to him. And it was a pick six, and it turned the whole ball game. We didn't get down the field, kick the field goal. That's a 4-point game. We get another opportunity to get down the field, and Kirk Cousins forced one of the worst interceptions I've seen in my life. You thought Desmond Ridder threw some bad interceptions. That one where he threw it, where he floated it on 3rd and goal, why are you floating the ball? You have a running back that's going crazy. Take your underneath. Get you a field goal. The last drive could have been kicking for the win if Yanko hits the field goal. That's another topic we can get on. But once again, you took yourself out the game by forcing these stupid interceptions. So now guess what you're putting yourself into? This fan base is ready to replace you as early as next week. Do I think he needs to be benched right now? I'm not against it. However, I don't feel that Michael Penix Jr. should be thrown into a situation where he needs to be the savior of 6-6. Because the reality was you signed Kirk Cousins to put us in position to make the playoffs. If dude comes in here, I do not want the rookie to catch the blame for what's been a disaster for the last 3 weeks. That's what my concern would be. So I don't want it to fall on the hands of Michael Penix Jr. Do he need to play? Yes, it is getting that time for him to play. You're starting to have some local media calling for this man to play. If Kirk Cousins have regressed at this rate, it's time to go ahead and chop your losses up. But at this point, you are running the risk of a banged-up Buccaneer team who you swept, by the way, winning this division. And you're going to road to Minnesota this week. It's bad. It's very bad. But let me catch on some of these comments real quick. The first topic of discussion needs to be that Raheem Morris is pitiful at these. I'm going to be honest. I hate all coaches that we've had as of recent in their press conferences. I hate what Raheem Morris be saying. Like, it's not even a question that you're not benching Kirk Cousins. Don't say that. Don't say that. Because at the end of the day, you need to be honest. Address the elephant in the room. You're going to run the risk of missing the postseason after you had almost a 3-game lead on the division at one point in time. It's time for you to be honest, because it's going to look bad on you. As, by the way, at times he's been outcoached. So it's not just on, I'm not going to put the fault 100% or nowhere big time on the coaches as much as last Sunday was on the players. But again, he's had his games where he's been outcoached. That's the truth of the matter. My boy KD Bailey said free tennis until we see finish. I think that the Falcons are going to eventually make that transition, but I don't think it's going to be this season. But I can understand why the fans are wanting him to play. I want to see Michael Penix play, but I don't want him to be thrown into the fire of what Kirk Cousins have caused at this point of the season. Even though we're, 5 games left in the year, I don't want him to be the one that catches blame for what is already an issue. Let's go. I'm talking about, that's what I just addressed. Don't get me started, y'all, boy. Kirk has, and by the way, I looked this up before we got on this air. The Falcons have the second most passing interceptions in the National Football League. The second most. As bad as Desmond Ridder was last year, how are you just about touching those numbers? But Kirk Cousins is too turnover prone at this point of his NFL career. You did not get paid $45 million a year to go out here and throw these god-awful interceptions when you have a really talented offense. But he gets to the point now where sometimes he forces the ball. And another thing, this needs to be the Atlanta Falcons' last non-mobile quarterback. I'm not saying you need your Michael Vick. I'm not saying you need your Lamar Jackson or your Jalen Hurts, nobody like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need a quarterback that can extend the play when the play breaks down. Let's be honest. Jake Matthews is not that good at this stage of his career. It should be his last season. Caleb McGrary, y'all know how I feel about Caleb McGrary. He sucks. No other way for me to put it. We have 2 of the worst tackles in the NFL when it comes to pass pro. But if you were a mobile quarterback, it wouldn't look so bad. But when he gets into that pocket like a statue, that's the result that you get. You have the interceptions. You have the forced fumbles. It's to a point now, I don't know the last time the Falcons played a ball game and haven't turned the ball over. We turned the ball over in the win against the Cowboys 4 weeks ago. I don't know the last time we played a game and didn't turn the ball over. Matter of fact, let me find it out before I continue. The last time the Atlanta Falcons did not turn the ball over was October 27 at Tampa. That's over a month ago. That's inexcusable. You cannot continue to force turnovers or have turnovers if you plan on having any sort of success. And let's be honest, this season is still alive. You're still in first place. You still got 5 games left. However, you don't have that much margin of error because it's you and Tampa at this point. Tampa has the Raiders coming to town. The Raiders clearly are tanking. They're competitive, but they're tanking. Let's be real. You lose to Minnesota this week, you're in second place. And you're 4-1 in the division. Let that sink in. Something got to change and quick. Let's go to some of these other comments. What's up, buddy? Time to bench Kirk. Again, I just addressed that. Because he was Desmond Ridder trash on Sunday, Jordan. What's going on, Jordan? And hashtag bench Cousins. Nope, I don't want to see the rookie this year leave Kirk in. That's exactly how I feel. Don't put Michael Penix behind that fire at this point. Do not put that behind him at this point of this season. Don't let him suffer behind what Kirk Cousins is causing at this point. Deontay said they had a 4. Yeah, it was technically a 4-game lead. And at this point, it's frustrating. At this point, I'm ready to throw my fan card out. Yes, I feel the same way. Let me be honest with you. It gets a point you sold the stadium out this season. I'm gonna hit that note too. That was demoralizing as a long-time season ticket holder. You've been selling out. You've had your top 10 in attendance. Yeah, you can attribute some of that to the games that came into Mercedes-Benz. We played the Cowboys, we played the Steelers, played a couple of those teams. But again, you've basically had a really pro-Falcon crowd. You got out to this hot start, and now you're in position to possibly miss the playoffs. To be honest with you guys, if we miss the postseason again, you got to fire Terry Fontenot. You're probably not going to fire Raheem Morris this year, first-year head coach. But that GM can go. Another issue I have with Arthur Blank as a owner. Most organizations, when you fire one, you fire them all. Let's be real. But the issue with the Falcons is they fire the head coach and keep the GM. They're both at fault. And again, also, let me also address another elephant in the room. I've seen it on social media all week talking about we should have kept Arthur Smith. No, we shouldn't have. Arthur Smith was not a good head coach. He's a great offensive coordinator that's behind a great head coach in Mike Tomlin with a really good roster in Pittsburgh. Stop comparing the two. That organization is well ran. The man has been the coach since 2007 and has not had a losing record. We are not the same organization. Please stop comparing the two. Let's be real. Jordan said defense played great also. Yeah, they played. That was the defense best game of the season. They were the best game of the season. And I think Jim Lake got a chance to, they did a lot of more exotic looks, man coverage looks. They got pressure on the quarterback. To me, that's what you want to see from your defense. The defense put you in position to win that ball game. To be brutally honest, they threw the towel in Denver. But even in the Saints loss, they didn't play bad. The defense typically does a good job in the second half of keeping their opponent under, 10 points or less? It's sometimes falling in offense. You put money into this offense to produce. He needs to produce at this point. Also, Young Ho, he's giving us some good kicks. It's time to go. It's time to go. And also, I want to fault Raheem Morris. You do not sign a kicker in Riley Patterson when your kicker has a hip injury. He had no business kicking on Sunday, to be honest with you. But that's idiotic coaching also. So that's just a whole other story. You said, he said, bench him, cut the season off to start over next year. If this team continues to lose, I can get where you're going with that. However, it's too soon to say that. It's too soon to say cut him, because at this point, we also got to look at the salary that he's at. To be brutally honest, we're on the books for $90 million for Kirk Cousins. So the best option would be to get rid of Kirk Cousins after next season. Benching him, I'm not against for next season, but to cut him is cap-wise, it would be horrible. Because we just got out of the situation with Matt Ryan and Julio's contract. Took the words out of my mouth. Jordan Love, Pat Mahomes, Geno Smith, Arthur Blank starting. To be honest, we aren't better than Philly or Detroit. Them two are the class of the NFC, if you ask me. That's my God-honest opinion. Is this roster's pretty good? Yes. But they're not, to me, they're not better. Detroit and Philly are the two clear standouts in the NFC right now. And but I'm not going to take anything away from the North in general. Minnesota's been pretty good. Green Bay's been pretty good. So, it really is some good talent in the NFC in general. Seattle, Geno's is their fallback. The Seattle Seahawks has a really good roster, but it really depends on Geno at times. So again, there's talent, and I'm not going to keep Washington out the mix too. Dan Quinn's done a good job with that Commanders roster. Jaden Daniels is in the running for Rookie of the Year, so that team is good too. So and then you got the Commanders coming. You have the Commanders still on your schedule. So you got to find a way to win one of these next 2 games, or your season's going to be basically over. Let me get to the next comment. Q, what's going on, my boy? He said, where are those 11-6 and 12-5? Man. That is a far-fetched now, because I don't see us winning out. However, if they got to find a way to win one of these next 2. What I mean by that is you got the Giants, the Panthers, and the Raiders. You got 3 teams that you should beat handily. No questions asked. However, you got 2 playoff caliber teams in the Minnesota Vikings and the Commanders coming up, and both on the road. You absolutely have to get one of those 2 games. Your goal now should be finishing 10-7. That should be your goal. Because if you don't, you run the risk of the Bucs winning the division. That's the truth. They got the Saints and the Panthers late. They got the Cowboys with no Dak Prescott in Dallas. They've been playing better ball, but you just don't know what Cowboy team is going to show up. Their only game remaining that I can say Tampa should lose is against the Chargers. That's it. You know what that is? That's 7 losses. You need to win 10 games if you plan on making the postseason. That's it. Because the road outside of winning the division is dead. Let's keep it a buck. Minnesota's what? Let me look at the NFC standings, because I want to say they're 9-3 or 9-2. I want to say that before I get too deep into this conversation. Let me make sure I'm correct before I say it. Philly's 10-2. The Lions are 11-1. Okay, Minnesota's 10-2. The Packers are 9-3. The Commanders is 8-5. Think about what I just said. They're 8-5. You're not getting in the playoffs as a wild card team this season. That's dead. It's dead. Plain and simple. These teams already have a winning record with 6 games to go. That's dead. If you don't win the division, you're not getting the playoffs. Plain and simple. So, again, the Falcons have created a mess. And he said Baker Mayfield has been the best quarterback in this division this season. Even with the injuries, Baker Mayfield's been the best quarterback in the division. That Buccaneers team is just banged up right now, but they find a way to win. He is by far the best quarterback in this division right now. Let's see. Kevin O'Connell said young quarterbacks don't fail organizations. Yes, that is true. And I also will go back to say that that's an issue that we do not want to run into with Michael Penix Jr. He came into this season as the clear backup, let the man learn the ropes, let Kirk Cousins finish his mess out. That's the truth at this point. Look at Sam Darnold. I honestly don't think we beat him. This is why I want it hard. To be honest with you, I don't really have high hopes about the Vikings game either, but the Vikings are also set up well. The Vikings have a outstanding, the clear number 1 receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson. Aaron Jones has been really good for the Vikings. They got TJ Hockenson back. They actually got some talent there in Minnesota. So Sam Darnold, all he has to do is not turn the ball over. Straight up with them. Okay, he said, give us Kirk and we'll give you a third. So start. Hey, man, if y'all want to take the contract on, go right on ahead. I think he would actually fit well in Seattle. And you said 9-2. And here the last comment, we predicted 10-7 before the season. So they're still on pace for it, but let's see what happens down the stretch. But another thing I want to talk about. I'm done with the Kyle Pitts experience. I mentioned this on my social media on Sunday. A lot of you agreed, and some of you didn't because you're so busy being stuck on Kirk Cousins. Let's call a spade for a spade. You drafted a man number 4 in the draft in 2021. This is his 4th NFL season. This is his 4th different starting quarterback. When are we going to stop blaming quarterbacks and offensive coordinators when you watch guys like a Justin Jefferson? You watch guys like you watch tight ends in this league like a Brock Bowers, a Travis Kelce, even without Mahomes, before Mahomes got there, he was a dog. You got tight ends in this league that ball despite the quarterback. Stop excusing this dude. This dude is one of those freak talents that came out the draft that's giving us nothing. And if you watch him 95% of the game, he's not running his routes. The routes fall short 95% of the game. That one throw in the end zone, the second and goal before he threw that god-awful pick, he didn't even finish running the route. And guess what? This is not an excuse for Kirk Cousins, but think about the tight ends that Kirk Cousins usually perform well with. He had T.J. Hockenson in Minnesota. He had Kyle Rudolph in Minnesota. Not sure who the tight end was at the point in Washington. But again, in some of our wins Kyle Pitts has been producing in those wins. He's given us nothing at this point. And you can say all day long, it's the targets. How much of that can you put on the targets at this point? Let's be honest. How much of that can you put on the targets? The dude don't get open. He run those little piss poor 5-yard routes, or he don't hardly block. Charlie Warner's getting more reps than Kyle Pitts at this point. Let's be honest, y'all. Let's be honest. I know everybody is feeling good about Pitts getting numbers. When he's producing, Pitts can make this offense scary. When he's producing. Note what I said. When he's producing. But he's not. He's not consistent. This has been a 4-year issue. His best season was when he was the only receiver to produce because Calvin Ridley was suspended for the season. He was a 1,000-yard guy with a washed Matt Ryan. Again, stop blaming the quarterback play for this lackluster tight end that we have. It's time to move on from Kyle Pitts. Get you another tight end that's going to produce game in and game out. Katie Bailey said, Brock, exactly. He was a number 4 overall pick. Brock Bowers went mid-teens. And Brock Bowers is on pace to becoming one of the best tight ends in the NFL in the future. And I'm not just saying this, I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan. You see the results. The dude is leading the league right now in receptions as a rookie. So miss me on that. Miss me. Passed on. Yeah, I wanted Michael Parsons that draft. But again, you take a generational tight end in Kyle Pitts. And again, I'm not going to knock them for taking the tight end. There are guys in this league that went first round and produced. There are guys in this league that went first round and produced out the gate. He's not one of them. He gave us the first season, and that's it. That's it. Quentin said the defense is the reason y'all losing can't get us off. They're also a problem at this point. That Denver game was god-awful. They could not get off the field. And again, the Falcons are going to have to overhaul that pass rush. Now, I'm talking about the overall perspective. I'm not talking about what happened on Sunday. On Sunday, they was really good. But when you look at this fact of this team, the Falcons still are one of the worst teams in the league in getting after the quarterback. Also, just to give y'all a couple of rundown of statistics, they're number 3 in most time on the field on defense. Teams are on the field for 31 minutes per game. 31 minutes per game. That is embarrassing. Give y'all another rundown. The opposing offenses have thrown 21 touchdown passes and only 7 picks. Rushing numbers, teams were middle in the pack. But the issue is the Falcons can't get stops when they need to get stops. Teams are able to get their offense going each week. Now, on Sunday, they were better. Again, they were the best game of the season. But the problem is, you got to be able to get off the field on third down. We're at 44% and get up on third downs this season. That's not good. It's not good. Plain and simple, it's not good. You got to be able to get off the field on third down anyways. Sunday, they did it. Are they going to do it against Minnesota? We'll see. Am I going to bank on it? No. We don't know what we're going to get with this defense each week. Hopefully, they build off what happened on Sunday because they had a good game. Your offense failed you. But we'll see. Oh, you say Brock Bowers 4th among tight ends. They passed on Parsons, Fields, Watson. Yeah, they had some. They passed on some guys. They definitely passed on some guys over the years. in the edge draft. Yeah, Braylon Trice, I think Braylon Trice would have fit well on this scheme. But the issue is the Falcons have changed 3 defensive schemes in the last 3 seasons. We were a 2-4-5 defense under, what's buddy name? That was our defensive coordinator. It's on the tip of my tongue. Dean Pease. Then we went to 4-3 with Ryan Nielsen. It looked good under Ryan Nielsen. Then we went back to 3-4, but we don't have the personnel to run a 3-4. So you struggle at that point because you don't have the personnel to run a 3-4. So they got to change. You got to get in the offseason and address up front. Playoff teams are able to get off the field. They're able to create pressure. They're able to force some stops. And that's why some of the top teams in this league are able to make steps like that. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of folks killed them for going crazy on the Georgia Bulldog players, and they sat on the bench for 2 years. They're finally getting their opportunity to play, and that defense have come to show up. They're young, but they're really talented. They finally are playing after those veterans have either retired or moved on. You got to build your defense. You got guys, and you got pass rushers. This is going to be a deep draft coming up as far as like playmakers on front. But you also got to address that linebacker core. The linebackers have been arguably the worst in the league. Most teams cook the Falcons across the middle of the field because those linebackers they don't have the speed to keep up with slot receivers or tight ends or whatnot, or they're trying to overly aggressively blitz, which leaves the middle of the field wide open. You cannot do that when you don't have a pass rush. You can't do it. You can't. Let me go to some of these other comments. Go get some linebackers in another corner to be. Yeah, I agree with you. Those are the 2 things that need to be addressed this offseason when it comes to the Falcons. They have to be addressed. But I want to throw the statistics up just to recap the game from Sunday. Let me go to the Chargers-Falcons statistics, and we'll talk about the box score from there. Okay, let me go full screen with this. Okay, looking at the stat line. Justin Herbert, 16 of 23, 147. He got sacked 5 times. Outstanding day for the defense. Great game for the defense. Best game of the season by far. Kirk Cousins. 24 of 39. 245 passing yards and a 4-for-4 in picks. And I ain't talking about Wendy's. Might have well called a $5 biggie bag. He got sacked in the game too. So 4 sacks and four picks in the sack. Might have well. QB rating 34.5. Trash. We all could have went out there and did that. But this man get paid $45 million a year to do it. Embarrassing. On to the rushing stats. Gus Edwards, 6 of 32. They didn't really do it on the ground. They couldn't really. J.K. Dobbins is out, so that hurt them. They had Kamani Vidal get 4 carries for 20. Darius Davis had 1 carry in the backfield. Justin Herbert ran 1 time, so they didn't really get a lot on the ground. Okay, on our side, Bijan continues his solid year, 26 carries for 102 yards rushing. One issue that I'm starting to have with Zach Robinson, we're force-feeding Bijan Robinson. I have no problem with him getting 20 touches. 26 carries is way too much. You got a Tyler Algier who is also productive in running the ball. He needs to get at least 10 touches a game. We're not doing that now. Why look at Detroit? Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You got the better teams in this league has a dual running back tandem. You got to use that. Even if you have a top tier runner, you have the luxury of having 2 potential number 1s on your offense. Feed them both. Feed them both. That opens up the offense for the rest of your team. I don't know why they don't do it, but they don't. Kirk Cousins had 1 run for 3 yards. That was that QB sneak. Also, Ray McCloud and Drake London. You want to know why that was a -2, a -3? That was the dumb jet sweep, like we were playing freaking Madden on 3rd and 1. If you don't give the ball to Tyler Algier and get the first down, I hate that. It makes me sick to watch Pee Wee offense on the NFL field. It's ugly to watch. I hate it. I can't stand it. Let me keep going. Receiving numbers, Ray McLeod, 4 for 95. He didn't get a touchdown. He had that big play on that should have been picked off, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. They had that 60-yard run. That drive ended up in a field goal. Drake London, 9 for 86. Drake London continues to produce in this offense. That's the one silver lining of Kirk Cousins that we've seen the Drake London breakout continue. Bijan, of course, had 6 for 33. Darnell Mooney had 6 targets. They really did a good job on Darnell Mooney. He actually was forced to get some. And actually, he should have had a touchdown, but Kirk Cousins threw it to the dirt. Ended up leading to that Young Ho missed field goal. Of course, y'all know y'all probably remember that. Tyler Algier had 1 catch. Look at the bottom of the screen. Hold on. Praying for the Lord to do me from the pick six. Look at the bottom of the screen. Mr. Kyle Cardio Pitts. 0 receptions, 0 yards, 2 targets. Productive, isn't it? Really productive. I told y'all, he's on the first team all cardio for the NFL. We all would love, wouldn't y'all love to get paid big money to run out there, don't have to catch no pass, just show up and run 1 or 2 yards routes. You don't want to catch the ball. You might drop a pass here and there. Wouldn't y'all love that? That's a life. That's what Kyle Pitts is doing. Get this man off my team, man. Get this guy off my team. I'm sick of him. I don't care who don't like it. I know a lot of y'all, Florida Gator fans, you want your boy Kyle Pitts to do. I don't care about none of that. I don't care if he was a bulldog. I'm going to call it out no matter what. The dude is trash at this point. Get him off my team. I hope he produces elsewhere, but not on my team. Get him off. Let's see. Joel Pitts out there really doing cardio. I'm sick. He is. He is. I'm tired of it. Ladd McConkey, shout out to my former Georgia Bulldog, 2-time national champ. 9 catch for $117. Let me tell you something. The Chargers got them something with Ladd McConkey in the second round. He probably is going to be one of the premier receivers in this league as he continues his pace. The dude is such a crisp route runner. He was giving AJ that work at one point in the game. I'm not going to lie to you. He was giving AJ that work a little bit. But, again, the dude is really good. Other than that, though, the defense is really good on their other receivers. Tev said that please resign Ray Ray. Yeah, I like Ray Ray. I really do. And Rondell Moore. I hope he gets resigned. Yeah, Ladd was going crazy in the first half. Quinn Johnson had 2 catches for 12 yards. Joshua Palmer had 1 catch. As you see, outside of Ladd McConkey, they got nothing in that receiving core on Sunday. Great job by the Falcons secondary. They did a lot of more man coverage. They wasn't 7 yards off the receivers like y'all know they like to do. So, credit to the Falcon defense, much better game. Fumbles. We had 2 fumbles. Drew Dalman recovered one of them that Kirk fumbled, and then Clark Phillips got a fumble recovery. They got a strip sack on the Son Haskins early in the game. The defense made some plays. So, kind of even in that statistic. By the way, as y'all probably see on the side of the screen, crowd of 72,139. Good crowd. Another good Falcon home crowd that had to watch this mess. I don't know what we watched on Sunday, but that's not Falcons football. That's not any football. I don't know what that was. I was embarrassed going to that game. I need my money back as a season ticket holder. I need my money back for that game. Anyways, on defense, Troy Dodd had 14 tackles, 7 solos. That's a great day in the office. Derrick James had 2 big tackles for a loss. He ate both of those jet sweeps up easily. Dayan Henley, 10 tackles on the day. Tony Jefferson had 6. Christian Fulton had 4. The 1 sack came from Tierra Todd. Now, they didn't really have a lot of tackles outside of that, Now to the Falcon defense, Caden Ellis. I think the Falcons need to continue to let Caden Ellis rush the passer. Caden Ellis needs to rush the passer, vice versa to being a linebacker. That fits him to perfection. He needs to rush the passer more. He don't need to be your do-it-all linebacker. He just simply needs to rush the passer because that's what fits him at this point. D. Alford had a good game, had one good breakup in the game as well. I was really, really impressed with what he gave us on Sunday as well. Clark Phillips had 4. Ayamana got a sack on Sunday, 2 solo. That was probably one of his best games as a Falcon on Sunday. Again, like I said, good day at the office for this defense. Ebiketie had 2 sacks. Arnold Ebiketie, he's so tricky because I'm such an Arnold Ebiketie fan, but he just haven't broken out. I don't get it. AJ had a really good pass breakup in the game. Kentavious Street had a sack on Sunday. So the defense came to play. They came to play. I have nothing negative to say about the defense on Sunday. Let me see who else got a sack on here. That's okay. That was all the sacks. Interceptions. Duran had a pick. Marcus May had a pick. And Tareem Steele should be Defensive Player of the Week. And guess what? He need to send the cash out to Kirk Cousins because Kirk was just floating it right to him. He just sat there and waited on Kirk Cousins. I guess he was like, man, this made my day. Kirk just out here throwing the ball to me. He done gave that man an additional contract. Congratulations, Kirk Cousins. You're one of a kind, dog. You are one of a kind. And that's not a compliment. Not a compliment at all. Kick returns, kind of even. Avery Williams had 2. He was 3 of 3. Youngho missed the field goal again. Another week, another Youngho missed field goal. He'd be cut. Tired of it. I know he hurt. Good luck to him getting his injury together. But he's been solid for the Falcons up until this season. He gave us a game with a field goal. Gave us a couple of games with the field goals. Tired of it. Get out of here. Sorry. New kicker. Please. Tired of it. I can't take it no more. He missed another field goal in a clutch situation. I'm going to scream. So get him out of here. I can't take it no more. I'm sorry. But this is ultimately the stats from that game. So, yeah. Let me go back to the main screen. But, again, the Falcons lost a idiotic game. Another winnable ball game. The Broncos game just got away from us. We did not really show up for that game. This was not one of them games. This was a winnable ball game. The Falcons just smoked it. It was an ugly loss. And now you go to Minnesota, who's been a really good ball club. They're on the brink of making the wild card push. They're still in the division race. They lost to the Lions last week. No, it was early in the season. And they're still on pace, though. They're still on pace to win that division. So it's a game you got to be ready for. You're not going to be able to go out there and play against a Vikings defense and be pathetic. And that Kirk should want to turn up. You're going home. You're going back to where you just left from. So we'll see what happens. But now I'm talking about for the AFC. He's in the AFC. I'm sure Leonard Williams is going to win for the NFC without question. He should. That crazy pick 6 is crazy. But yeah, the Falcons desperately need to win on Sunday. You need to win on Sunday, and you need to try to find a way to rally this season off because at this point, you have now put yourself in a mess. And again, we'll see what happens. The Falcons still got some favorable games. You got the Raiders. Be on the watch out. They could possibly flex that game. I've been hearing rumors that game could get flexed out of Monday Night Football. I haven't heard anything different. If you do, let me know. But again, not a good look for the Falcons right now. 3 straight losses. They got to really rally this season. And, hey, we'll see what happens. You got the Giants and the Panthers at home. Those are winnable games. You should win both games. So, we'll see. But all I know is this. If the Falcons plan on making the playoffs, they got to tighten up starting this week. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But until then, this has been an episode of All In with Nate. I will be back on Sunday right after the game because I won't be at the game, of course. They're on the road at Minnesota, thankfully. So, once again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm going to get off of here. I'm actually going to do another show this week. I'm going to talk about Georgia. I've been wanting to talk about Georgia for a while, but I've been kind of waiting to see what this situation play out like for the college football playoffs and everything. They're going to be in, but we'll see where they sit. I may end up doing a double show on Sunday. Be on the watch out for it. But till next time, it's been an episode of All In with Nate. Rise up, I guess. I ain't too confident saying it. Rise up right now, but hey, check it out of here, man. Y'all have a good night.